afternoon or good morning, depending on where you are today. Hello, everybody. I'm Mary Alice. Thanks so much for joining us this afternoon. I'm going to give just another moment or two for you to come on in and get settled. Thanks so much for joining us today. We're happy to have you. I know we could all use a little respite from that super restful weekend that we all got, yes? I don't know about you or what you see out your windows, but I found it really interesting that the weekend seemed so much busier than the week this week, which was ironic and different from how things usually go in the world that we're used to in society at large. I found myself wondering where all these people going. I don't know what's going on around where you live, but I found that very interesting. I don't know where everybody was going on the weekend, maybe supplies and shopping and outdoors, trying to find places where nobody else was, that they could enjoy some sunshine besides their backyards or in the corners where they're at least 6 to 8 feet apart from other people. But wherever you were and whatever you did this weekend, I hope you were able to relax and enjoy. I know Monday morning and Sunday night in this household still breeds a little bit of anxiety. There are just 3 of us here now, narrowed down from our much bigger family that used to exist. Our 3 older children are outside, living outside of the home. They're out on their own, in their own places. So it's just my husband and I and our 11-year-old here at home foraging this storm. Thankfully, we are all healthy and safe now, and just trying to keep contact with our extended family and friends through any means possible. We're using FaceTime, we're using this beautiful platform right here, Zoom, to keep in touch with friends and family, encouraging phone calls, and just really any kind of way that you can create a virtual community. I would encourage you to do so. Try to keep on as best we can, especially for children, but really for all of us. Consistency and schedule is important. And when we lose our center, we can kind of lose our compass, our direction. So I would encourage you to reach down inside and look for that motivation, that spark. Before all of this started, what got you going every day? What was that light in the morning when you opened your eyes, when those very first stirrings, maybe before your eyes even opened? You wake up warm in your bed, pulling your warm blankets around you, cozy in your pillow, and realizing that you made it safe through the night and you've got a fresh start of a clean slate day in front of you. What ignites you? What lights that fire there in the morning? Are you immediately exhausted, overwhelmed with what the day is piling on top of you, filled with regret from the day before, maybe about what you could have done or should have done or may have done differently, the opportunities that passed you by? Or do you wake grateful? Grateful for the day before, grateful for the restful sleep, or even if it wasn't so restful, grateful for an opportunity to start again. Talking about perspective, I'd like to segue into choices. Now, I didn't have such an easy morning this morning. I don't want you to think that I'm just all sunshine and roses and I just wake up like a spring dew every morning, because that is not true. My nickname is Mary Sunshine. And that's because as a child, I wasn't so happy in the morning. So my mom took to waking me up by being extra zuber cheerful. Good morning, my Mary Sunshine. To which she usually got, I'm not your Mary Sunshine. Mary, quite contrary. I was so determined to not fit in anybody's box before I even knew what that meant. Determined to lead my own charge, be independent, be myself, my own person. You're not going to tell me what to do. You're not the boss of me. But how much trouble my willfulness got me into, blinded by my independent streak. Wanting so badly to do it on my own gave me tunnel vision. And I carried that quest with me forward through into my life. Choices. Thankfully, through introspection and looking within, I've been able to see some of my own patterning, some of my tendencies that when life scratches my surface, what are kind of my old habits I fall back on? I'm not your Mary Sunshine. You can't tell me what to do. I'll decide what's best for me. Thank you very much. But what if I don't know best all the time? What if the ideas I have in my head or my heart, my deeply held core beliefs aren't true or aren't right or good for me? Then what? What if I'm white knuckling something that's bad for me and just recklessly trying to work it out, beating it against myself and every person I encounter along the way? Choices. What if this morning, with every frustration I encountered, because I don't want to do it myself, because I don't want to be the only person paying attention to schoolwork, because I don't want to be the only one cleaning or taking care of dishes or preparing meals, or gosh, the list goes on and on. I don't want to do it alone. I really don't. I don't want to do it alone. I don't want to be by myself. When I was talking about our head and our hearts kind of working in divergence of each other, this is exactly what I'm talking about. So in a moment of crisis or conflict or frustration, like me this morning, say, when I've got my life pulling me in different directions, what I want to do, my heart wants to do, my head needs to do, what my body only has 2 hands and 2 legs and 1 head. So I've got to delegate, I've got to decide, I've got to make choices about what's best for me in here. Mary, the watcher, the seer, the one who is watching this brain swirl, watching this body tense, watching my brow furrow, listening to the little quabbles and whispers that were coming under my breath, the little negativity I was introducing to myself. Nobody else could hear that but me. Choices. So if I follow my choices to the nth degree, if I decide that maybe this frustration of me feeling overwhelmed in this nanosecond is worth me following that frustration into picking a fight? Is it worth it? Do I love my husband? Does he love me? Was this a malicious doing? Is he purposefully out to get me? I don't think so. Does he really think only of himself and he doesn't care about the rest of us? Is that why he's working night and day in his office from home, just struggling and trying with everything he's got in him to make sure that we've got a living and stability and security underneath us and around us? So I should go poke the bear? Now, I'm not saying to put up with abuse or to smudge your boundaries. I'm saying the same thing I've always been saying. Protect the borders. Protect your peace of mind, of heart, of mind, body, of self, at all costs. Because this well font is inside you. And you can come back to it at any time if you protect it. And it takes practice and a willing surrender. So I'm going to invite you today and in the next coming days, using this light of awareness and our breath to help bring us some calm and center, to help lower our blood pressure and our heart's beats per minute in those moments of tension. To follow those choices, the battles that you're choosing, follow those to the nth degree. Look inside to what desire it is you're looking in yourself to fulfill. And if this course of action will fulfill that desire. If I want help from my husband, will starting a fight or saying something antagonistic or criticizing to him get me that help I'm looking for? Probably not. It'll annoy him, put him on the defensive for sure. How would I receive that if and when I felt like I was doing everything in my wheelhouse and within my capability, doing my best? I feel attacked. Wouldn't you? So moving on and in, I'd just like to take you to apply this R's, the roles, the responsibilities into your relationships. And think about those. And this is the right time or place to address this, especially since our workplace and our home place and our relaxation place and our physical activity place and our gym and our healthcare facility, they're all in one now within sometimes only a few hundred square feet of each other. So giving ourselves that internal space can help create a little bit more feeling of physical space for yourselves and for each other. So inviting you into our practice today. Instead of breath work, I'm going to talk to you about Om. So most of you are familiar with Om, or hearing it, or knowing that this is something that is congruent or together with yoga, meditation, mindfulness. But why? Why Om? What is this word? What does it mean? What does this sound? Om, or Aum, is one sound, the original sound, if you will, that encompasses all other sounds. So without involving your tongue, these three sounds make up every other sound made, every other word, and every other language that we speak. Sound baths, using them in resonance and kind of in the round, if you will, are a fantastic way to connect to the inner resonance of this instrument that is our body. The ah connects somewhere to our belly button area, right to the center of your core. You should feel this sort of low. It's a little bit higher, maybe in your center solar plexus or your chest. Higher in your throat chakra. As we feel these three centers of the body, uniting them with our three sounds, and we'll do each sound 7 times. So each sound independently and fully. We'll open our mouths to make each sound. So for ah, it would be like a We'll go through the ahs 7 times and move on to use your own breath. Don't try to match mine. Just empty out completely. We want to empty all the way. And when you're finished, we'll close the mouth. So a nice open mouth to begin with. Close the lips to round out the ending of your sound. And each sound 7 times. You can begin when you're ready. You want to sit up nice and tall for this one. If you're sitting in a chair, I'm going to invite you to place your feet on the floor, rooting your feet down into the earth and drawing the crown of your head up towards the ceiling, shoulders back. And you can place your palms, just let them rest in your lap, or you can do a yoga mudra, which we spoke about, where your first finger and thumb are touching. The rest of your fingers are sort of glued together here. And then this can rest on your thighs or on your knees. Shoulders and upper arms are sort of relaxed. And you can sit on the floor in either a comfortable cross-legged position like easy pose or sukhasana, or in a lotus position. Or just, if you're going to be seated cross-legged, again, rooting your tailbones into the earth, sitting up, nice, tall, erect posture for our spine. Very slowly, slowly bring your awareness back and open your eyes. Isn't that beautiful? Serene and calming. Try this with your family. If you can get everybody to close their eyes, they might be able to get out of their heads about it a little bit. But when you can get really into the higher and lower tones and feel this reverberation inside of you, it's really can be a life-changing experience and such a wonderful, impart such a wonderful feeling of calm. For me anyway, I don't know how you're feeling right now, but I feel really good. Try that out at home in your own. Or, gosh, I did it in the bath last night by myself. I was kind of resting and needed a few minutes there to decompress. I take a lot of hot showers, or even if I feel like I just need a few minutes, especially right now, just to myself to get away. A locked bathroom door does the trick for me. I'll pop on some candles, maybe put on some music or even a meditation to listen to. Put on a nice hot shower, sometimes just a steam shower, and I will just sit in the back, let the nice warm vapors go, put a little bit of some room spray in there, or some essential oils, or a vapor tab. I'm not sure if you're familiar with those, but lots of different companies make them, either organic, essential oils, or even Vicks makes some little vapor cubes and tabs that you can throw in the back of your shower. Again, I've got some super sunlight in here, but this is an Aveda room spray. I'm gonna try to find a spot to show you. This is in their chakra series. So I've got lots of these guys. This one is feeling grounded. This one is for insight, chakra 1, chakra 2. So our just ground our mula bandha, really work that perineal if we need some grounding, because our base instincts right now are feeling kind of out of whack because all of our primal fears are really engaged with their state of affairs being kind of out of alignment. I'm a big fan of Aveda, so I've also got some Aveda Mihana. And this other company, this Zoom Mist, is something that I've become familiar with at my local health food mart. And they've got some great products. This is one of their, this is the sea salt flavor, which I'm addicted to. And actually my little guy loves this as well. And I'm not even sure what is in this mix, but it just smells so good, so yummy, and so refreshing. And so I use this one actually a lot when I'm teaching, just because it's a nice fresh scent that doesn't have a lot of those kind of allergens in it, anything that's going to give a headache or trigger kind of a sneezing attack or anything like that. Just nice, fresh, and good. So we're going to move on and do our card pulls and do our reading for the day. But the last couple things I wanted to touch on before we do that is tomorrow's episode, we're going to talk a little bit more about this kind of aromatherapy and reflexology, specifically with our feet. We're going to talk tootsies. I have talked about the fact that I have an autoimmune disease. I have EDS, Ehlers-Danlos syndromes. So it's not something that too many people are familiar with, and I can't even pronounce it myself most of the time. So not that I really care or it matters so much, but it just means that some of my functions don't work exactly how they are supposed to, and it's just the way my genes are made. So to kind of give myself, I'm big on antioxidants and anything that can be restorative, rejuvenating, and relaxing, and also cleating and cleansing. So we'll do a brief introduction to Kriya Yoga, cleansing yoga, Ayurvedic medicine, and foot care, reflexology, just kind of a real basic outline of the foot, some self-massage techniques that you can do, and also just my top tips for foot care and what I do to kind of infuse my feet to keep my health alive. So for our cleansing today, I'm going to use my selenite wand. We've talked about Palo Santo, we've talked about sage, we've talked about having our grounding elements and inviting our spiritual guides in, whoever that might be, to you. And with crystals, you can cleanse them during a full moon by burying them in the ground, or you can clean them with a selenite wand. This you can also use to clean your own energy, the same way you would use sage. These you can pick up from your local gemologist or gem guy, or at maybe even a rock show or something like that. I really like to know my gemologist who I'm buying them from. So I have a local guy, not super local, but he's local to my cabin up north. So he's my guy I go to at the in Fairview, Michigan. And so that's where I get mine, but you can get it in lots of different sizes. This is a thick one. I've got a little one that travels with me. And you can also get selenite balls. And these I like because you can kind of rub these around all your areas of tension. I just got Botox. I get Botox treatments in my scalp and in my neck for chronic migraine. It's a complications. And I also have it's called cervical dystonia, but it means that my muscles in my neck kind of fire at will when they should be at rest. And it's sort of pulling my neck to the left. If you'll notice, my head's always tilted to the left. So we do an EMG guided Botox. So they put an EMG needle into the different muscles here, mainly on the left side of my neck, but some on the right. I think there's only 2 spots we do over here on the right, but on the left-hand side of my neck, we put the EMG in, and the electro muscle reading. It kind of sends some pulses in to see if these muscles are, again, are tense when they shouldn't be. So if you imagine muscle at rest, right? Muscle tense. So these muscles are tensing when they shouldn't be. So the doctor just, while he's reading it, it gives this kind of staticky sound, and then he just shoots the Botox right into these very specific muscles in my neck. And again, one on this side. So I actually have two herniated discs in my neck and one near herniated disc in my neck. And it's not because of injury or anything else that I've done. It's because my body is pulling my neck to the left-hand side. I get some neuropathy and radiolocopathy. That didn't say that right. Anyway, neuropathy in my hands, mainly where they will start to go kind of into like a claw, sort of like a rheumatoid arthritis sort of issue. But mainly my the EDS affects all my joints. It's a connective tissue disorder. So my selenite balls, since I'm not supposed to really, especially after Botox for about 3 weeks, I'm not supposed to touch or push in any of these areas because it can move. They're very, very specific measuring in areas that they put that in around. So I try to just maybe, we're just gonna impart healing on these areas and not rub. But as we get later in, this is a really good size for myofascial release. So a bigger size is good for musculature, for getting into those muscles, and for releasing some tension. But as you work your way up, you can get into the smaller and smaller balls. And this is good for really getting into there and releasing some of the tension out of those points of attachment. So we're going to talk about, get into more about that with the feet and everything else tomorrow. That's all part of the Kriya Yoga that we're going to be getting into. But so I don't take you too far on time today, we'll go ahead into our reading. And again, we're doing the Book of the Awakening with Mark Nepo. And we're just opening at random, and I've opened to a silent teacher. It says, "Only when I stopped collecting evidence do the stones begin to speak." I wanted to speak to something very dear and obvious that has taken me my whole life to truly learn. We have touched on it elsewhere. More than knowledge, which I believe in, it involves knowing. I've always been a reader. The worlds opened by honest voices throughout the ages have saved me from confusion and loneliness time and time again. I've also spent roughly 40 of my 49 years in school either as a student or a teacher. Not by chance, however, the classroom has enlarged over time to the living of life itself, and the teaching has involved less and less instructing, and more the asking of simple things and the secrets of their simplicity. But what I really want to say is that, astonishingly, the reward for truth after all this way is not justice or knowledge or expertise, though these things may happen, but joy. And the reward for kindness is not goodness or being thought well of or even having kindness returned, though these things may happen too. No, the reward for kindness as well is joy. After the hard years of getting a doctorate, after studying on my own hundreds of sacred texts from so many different paths, I have learned that the blessing for experiencing oneness is not the strength or clarity that arrives with it, but more deeply a peace from dividedness. Whether resting in a hospital bed when the pain has stopped, or waking in my lover's arms as her fingers ease the worry from my head, or falling asleep with the words of someone's long dead lying open in my lap, the bareness of truth and compassion is the same. It returns me a simple, if not rare moment in which thinking and feeling and knowing and being are all the same. It is in this enlivening moment, so hard to find and so elusive to hold. That is my silent teacher. Close your eyes and bring into focus one thing you know from reading or studying that has helped you. Note where it comes from into your awareness. Does it come alive in your head, in your heart, or in your stomach? Chakras. Bring into focus one more important thing you have learned from living. Note where it comes from into your awareness. Where does it come alive? Without judging either, note the sameness or difference in how these knowings live in you. This just brings me back to the beginning of our discussion about choices, about the about knowing our nature and fighting it, about struggling against things as they are, and that's where suffering comes from. About being willing to change, either being willing to change the life that you have for the life that you want, or be willing to stay in an unfulfilling relationship, a going nowhere job, or are you unwilling? You could look at this two different ways. This is a tidbit of something that I've learned. You could be maybe one of two different people. You could be either willing to stay or unwilling. It's all what kind of person you are. You're either willing to get out of yourself and look for something new, or you are unwilling to stay in the situation of things as they are. It's just how you want to look at things and how you want to apply yourself. So fighting against things as they are, I've spent a lot of time doing that myself, and it got me resentment and bitterness and angst and anger and depression and sadness. And through acceptance, I was able to take my power back and realize that I was the one in control and I was hurting myself. Choices. And so our prayer cards, simply prayer cards, and we're reading empowering questions. So again, these are going to be random polls. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that so whoever believed in him should have everlasting life. Are you willing? Or are you unwilling? To believe, to have faith, to trust, to be vulnerable. To believe because I say you do, and to believe because you say you do. If I didn't feel shame or fear, what would I do now? That's interesting. This one took me a while because as a Christian raised by two Catholics, I know a lot about guilt and shame. But I also know that my God loves me and created me. And I've got nothing to feel ashamed about and nothing to feel guilty about because I am forgiven and I'm clean. And today is a new day and a clean slate. And I'd like to give that to you as well for your affirmation today. I am new. I am whole. I am ready. I am whole. I am new. I am ready. Amen. Thanks so much for joining me today. I'm Mary Alice. We'll see you back here tomorrow for some Tootsie time with our feet, some Kriya yoga, and some breathing. Thanks so much, you guys. Have a good day. We'll see you tomorrow.